날에 날라장고 놈도 나나 이어도 쳐라 저라고지라 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 이어도 서라 저라고지라 이어도 서라 저라고지라 한글로 가자 이어도 서라 이어도 서라.
Hi, I'm Mark, and you are listening to the very first episode of the Halla holla podcast. That was not. I can't keep my composure because it's been a long time coming, and I just want to thank our guest for really making this happen. Because if I don't know if you didn't say yes to this, I wouldn't know what to do. So thank you so much for that. And if you are watching, you can kind of get an idea of where we are and probably what we're going to talk about. But if you're listening, if I could describe where I am, it's closed and open at the same time, if that is possible. That's because we are in a massive barn. I mean, this has got to be 2 stories high. I would say 2.5 stories, easy. Right? It's huge. I mean, it's probably soccer field, football field.
It's
and
big.
It's big. It's big. It's real big. There's an office over there that is a second story within the barn. So that kind of gives you an idea of how massive this is. And because it's so big, it has to hold some big animals, which you can see that. If you're watching, that's what these are for. That of course, I'm talking about horses because we are in a horse ranch, and it is all the way out on the eastern side near the Sehwa area. Am I correct with that?
Yes, Sehwa area.
Yeah, Sehwa area. And I am just remembering the first time that I came over to this area because I live all the way on the West Coast, and I remember, I've just been here for about approaching a year on the island, so there's still a lot new to me. And we were just driving through, and we're going through all the forests and the jungle. That's fine. Jeju, I get it. But then, we clear the forest, and then it becomes like golden rolling fields, and I'm just like, where am I? Right? Well, in the middle of nowhere, and there's just horses like, just running across these golden fields. It's pretty amazing. And, I had the chance to eventually meet our awesome guest today. So without further ado, please go ahead, introduce yourself. I'm not going to try to say your full name because I tested it out, failed.
Miserably.
Miserably. It was an epic fail. So I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do our Russian listeners a disservice. So please introduce yourself and just tell us, how you came here, how you got to be on Jeju.
Yeah, okay. So, hello. My name is Hope, but fully it's Hope Nadezhada. So if you're Russian, you can recognize my name. You can actually pronounce it. If you're not, don't try it. Okay?
Okay, got it. Yeah.
Don't try it. It's terrible. I don't use it anyway, so I just go by Hope. We are at the biggest ranch in Jeju. Apparently most of Korea as well.
Is that right?
Yeah. It's
how did
giant.
I skip that part? It's the biggest in the country.
Yes, it's giant.
Yeah.
Other ranches are big too, but they're a little bit different. This one is very, very big. Reason for that? We have very big horses. So I came to Jeju for the horses.
Sorry, I'm just cut you off. Just adjust your. Okay.
Greetings.
Yeah, there you go. Yep, you're good.
Okay, so I came to Jeju for the horses. It was about a little over a year ago. Previously to that, I had horses back in Seoul. I had my own riding club back in Seoul. That was working too nicely for me.
When was that? When was that?
I would say, how long I've been here? A year, so right before I came here. So I had that for about a year as well. Mm-hmm. It was like right edge of Seoul.
Yeah.
And then that was really great. I had a lot of horses, my horses, client horses, all kinds of people in and out. But I have a husband. I have family. And I was pregnant with my second child.
Yeah.
So since this is my riding club, this is my barn, I had to do the work, right? Even though I tried to hire a staff, it was hard to find someone who could match to what I want because Korean staff, they don't really understand my standards. And foreigner staff, there's a problem with the visas and things like that.
Huh.
So I'm capable to do it myself. So I did it myself for a while. But because I was pregnant and approaching, giving birth,
Yeah.
I had to make a decision. That decision was to close my barn. And I decided to send my horses to Jeju. And that was maybe a year and a half ago.
Year and a half ago.
Yeah.
So you're relatively new
Yes.
living wise on the island as well.
Yes,
Very
I'm
cool.
new. I don't know any area around here. I
Yeah.
only know Sehwa.
Well, if this is like the largest horse ranch on in the country, I mean that's a good chunk of area.
It's big. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm satisfied.
Yeah.
Very
Nice.
satisfied
Yeah.
here. So my horses came here first, and then after my baby, I came maybe 5-6 months after my baby was born, and now we're all here in this farm.
You're all here.
Yeah, it's been about a year here.
Yeah. And so you had your horses and your horse ranch back in the greater area on the main land. But let's back up a little bit even before that. Where,
Okay,
like,
where did that come from?
yeah, well, how did that start with just your love and of horses?
Well, when I was small, about 5 years old, my mom put me on a horse, not a pony. Everyone note that.
You see that? Yeah,
Yeah.
you hear that?
Not a pony.
Not a pony,
horse.
not for your birthday. Horse, full grown.
Full grown,
Uh-huh.
big, beautiful white horse.
Uh-huh.
She put me on a horse, and I rode that horse. And from that moment on, I can't get a horse out of my head. So from that time on, I started riding horses. From that time on, I started caring for horses and studying about horses. And throughout my years, I've done all kinds of things. I've done in America, I've done mostly therapy. Horse therapy, training for for therapy
Where was this in America?
in Philadelphia.
Yeah. That's right.
Yes.
Yes.
Buddies.
Yes, that's right. I'm also from Pennsylvania. We're in the Bucks County area
Yes.
as well, and I'm Montgomery, so
We're close.
we're pretty much
Everyone's
siblings.
just Philly. We're from Philly.
That's right. Yeah, that's what we say. Yeah.
So, the stable was in Philadelphia itself. So,
Okay.
I did about 6 years there. And then I did a lot of other things. I've done trail guides. I've done other horse care. I've done a lot of small projects here and there with horses.
And that was just around Pennsylvania. and
yeah,
stuff?
it's all around
Yeah.
Philadelphia.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, all around there. I don't go far.
Yeah.
What else did I do? I've done apprenticeship with trainers as well. I've learned a lot of things from them, all kinds of people, different people, and just build it up. Finally, I had a choice when I was moving to Korea.
Yeah.
Prior to moving to Korea, which was about 11 years ago, where to go, really? Korea or not Korea?
Right.
So I got in contact with 3 different countries for horse-related stables.
I was going to ask it. It
Yeah.
had to be you had to be
Yes.
working with the horses.
Yes.
That was part of the deal.
Yes.
Okay.
So all 3 countries have accepted me.
Yeah.
It was Mexico, Italy, and Mongol.
Okay.
Yeah, Mongolia.
All right.
So all 3 accepted me, and they all
They know
want-
their horses. Yes, absolutely.
They do, and they wanted specific training and doing touristy stuff. Riding horses every day into
Yep.
like beautiful mountains.
Yep.
Which sounded amazing. It's
Yeah.
like a dream come true, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like Mexico, Mongolia. Come on, man. That's crazy.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
I really wanted to pick one of those.
Yeah. And you didn't. You
And
didn't
I
choose any of them.
didn't. I did not. And I don't regret it, but
Yeah.
still think back on it.
When you're having a tough day, you're like,
I could have been in
Yeah,
Italy,
yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
No, I decided to come to Korea for the arts. And then I came to Korea, and I didn't have much interaction with horses here because horses in Korea are a luxury.
Okay.
And they're more like a golf, like a sport.
Yeah.
So I could not do much with the horses for minimum 5-7 years.
Right.
When I was in Korea.
Right.
When I got off back to my country, like to America, I would just hop on a horse. But then here I wouldn't be able to do that.
Right. So sorry to cut you off, but
Yeah.
you were given these 3 options, right?
And you didn't choose any.
And you didn't choose them, but then you chose Korea.
Yeah.
But like, you kind of made a decision. You know what? Like, I might not be working with horses coming to Korea, but you were still bent on coming to Korea
Yeah.
just because the arts, as you said,
For the
or
arts, yes.
Okay.
So I'm an art major. So
Are you? Did we talk about this?
No, we did
I'm
not.
an art major too.
What?
Huh. Okay. Anyways, well, all right.
Okay,
Well,
it's
all right.
cycled.
Okay. All right.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
I need to like get to know my guests more before I bring on. Anyways, please
Well,
continue.
Yeah. So I went to actually Hanyejeong.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
If you
Yes.
know
Yes.
what that
Yep.
is? Yeah. So I went to Hanyejeong and I loved it so much because it was so different than what you do in America. I'm like, gosh, this is amazing. I want to stay here. And that's what I did.
Yeah.
And just stayed here. And
Okay.
then I knew there was no horses here. And I'm like, all right, it hurts, but I'll come back to it eventually.
Right.
And that's what I did until finally I had the chance to kind of randomly find a barn, which is just literally 5 minutes from my house.
Yeah.
And then I came there and I said, I want to ride horse. And it's like, okay, hop on.
Yeah.
And I hopped on and they're like, okay, go fast. And I'm like, okay, I haven't
Yeah.
done this in so long.
Yeah.
And I went fast and I think I looked ridiculous because it's been like 5-7 years. I
Okay.
don't remember. I can't
Okay.
remember.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, great. Now slow down, hop off. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, how much? How much I will pay you? They say, come back next day.
Yeah.
Come back next day. Okay, hop on a horse. Did the same thing. Okay, how much? Come back again.
Yeah.
Finally, they said, just keep coming. Just keep coming.
Huh.
Yeah.
That sounds like a movie. It's
Sounds
just
like
just like
amazing,
this.
amazing
yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and eventually I became their horse trainer there.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I retrained their horses. Korea, they're using thoroughbreds, ex-thoroughbreds, for riding horses.
Mm-hmm.
So my job was to make them not be crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So turn dragons into unicorns.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
my job.
Or just like really nice dragons, maybe.
Yeah.
Really friendly ones. Yeah.
I did still have one dragon. They're my favorite horse. I love dragon horses.
Uh-huh. Very
So
cool.
that's what I did for like 2 years.
Okay.
About 2-3 years. And then people start asking me to train them, to teach them.
Was that just when you were like
while I
at that
was
rent?
there.
Yeah. Okay.
Because they were watching me and,
Yeah. They were asking you, so how much? And you're like, come back the next day.
actually, I taught everyone for free. Yeah.
Not bad.
Yeah, completely
Yeah.
free. All
Sweet
the money
deal.
went to the owner of the barn.
Wow.
I was not interested in making money.
Right.
I just enjoyed it. And it turned out I like it.
Yeah.
And not just that, I like teaching people how to be with horse.
Well, you kind of had that experience back in the States a little bit,
Yeah,
right? Because
but
you were
that's
doing that kind
normal.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
America, that's normal.
Yeah.
Being with horse, interacting with horse, horsemanship,
Right.
touching horses, groundwork,
Sure.
everything together.
Right.
They're friends, they're a family. That's very normal
Yeah.
for American people and
Okay.
maybe some other countries. But for Korea, that's a very different concept. Not necessarily something they know, not necessarily something they consider. So they think horse is a tool mostly.
Okay. Beast of burden, that kind of
Yes.
thing. I worked on farms, sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
So they exercise, as in the rider exercises on
Mm-hmm.
the horse, gets on, gets off. There's no interactions.
Right.
Horse is ready for that. Horse is stacked up. Literally get on, get off.
Mm-hmm.
What I was doing to the people there, why they started asking me, is I was teaching them how to be with the horse, not just get on, get off.
Yeah.
I was teaching them why the horse does this. What's the horse thinking? How do you respond to that?
Yeah.
How do you touch them?
Yeah.
So they got curious of that. And from that kind of spiraled out into me having my own stable.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's how backup story goes to that.
Yeah.
And then shut down the stable and fly over to Jeju. Now
Yep.
I'm here.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
You have your family, and now you're here. And what? You had a group today that you were talking.
Yes,
Yep.
I had a lovely group today. They were frozen.
It's a bit chilly. It is
It's very
a
cold.
brisk 7 degrees Celsius
Yes.
outside today. I'm good. Like actually, I get hot very easily. So when I started moving around with the horses out there, I was all right. But yeah, for some,
you.
yeah.
Like, yeah, I'm very cold. So yeah, I actually right now on this farm, I do several things here. Are we going that far today? All right. So
Go for it. Yeah.
yeah. So the group today was a tour of this farm. So
Yeah.
basically, what I do is I introduce people to horses. I show them how to touch a horse.
Yeah.
Most people don't know how to do that here because, like I said, it's on on the horse, get off the horse.
Yeah.
Finished.
Right.
Anything
They have those kind of like
yes.
rides. You can like ride a horse and
Yeah.
you pay and you just like
Yeah.
bop it up and
Yeah,
like,
on
all right,
Jeju,
see ya,
yeah.
photo,
Yeah.
see ya.
That's right.
Yeah.
On Jeju in particular, that's just, you hop on the Jeju horse, 10 minutes, do a circle,
Yeah.
finish.
Yeah.
It costs also 10,000 won, so it's very cheap. Here it's different, and when they come here, they have no idea what they're about to do.
Yeah.
And once they try, they're like blown away.
Yeah.
Everyone is blown away. They're like, "Oh my god, I did not know I can do this.
Right.
I did not horses were like this.
Right.
I didn't know that if I touch a horse, we're making a connection.
Right.
We're not just, there's not just like a toy that I sit on and get
Yeah.
off.
Yeah.
So everyone's blown away by that. And that's what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to introduce people to the horses, how
Yep.
to touch them, how to interact with them, to understand them.
Yeah.
Horses have a lot of communication happening with us at any given moment, even if they're not doing anything in particular, but they're still communicating.
Right.
So that's what I like to introduce to people.
I mean, I have to reveal to our audience that I know Hope because I am working with a horse right now, and yeah, he's a big boy. His name is Arthur. He's shy of a ton.
A little under
a little
there.
shy of a ton. He's not quite an even ton, but
He's still young. He's 3.
He's 3, but he's a big boy, and I hate to make like comparisons, but to just like a broad, popular, famous thing. But we had to rewatch Avatar because I needed her to see the new one
Yeah.
in the theater, and so we watched the original on TV, and the part where I forget the main character's name. I can't think of his name. Was it? Do you remember?
I don't know too.
Okay. Well, anyways, so he has to like find and catch one of these like creatures,
Right.
And he has to like make this connection, and
Right.
it's very literal. It's like he
And
has
the
this like
little
tendril
connected,
thing and the
right.
connect, but like the way that they kind of focus in on the animal, the creature itself, and just some of the shots. I'm like, okay, like James Cameron, like I think he did his homework when it comes to like horse training,
Right.
because very similar, just how you
Yeah.
had to like he showed shots of it breathing and the way of it calming down and stuff. I was like, that kind of when you
wow, yeah, that's really-
I mean it's when you, as soon as you do like make a connection, I'm just like touching big old Arthur on the butt. I'm like, he can feel all this, like I gotta like
Yes.
even though he's so massive, I know he's like he can just feel all of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's the fascinating part about horses. They can feel. They have a sixth sense as well, so they can feel what we feel. So not just our touch, they can reflect and double our emotions.
Right.
An author that you're talking about, he is a very special boy. So he is 3 years old. He's still a stallion. I have to say that. And
He's not half. He's still
he's still a stallion.
he's still a stallion. Yeah.
And he was leading stallion before.
Okay.
So that says a lot about his personality.
What does that mean for us?
That means he is not a low position horse. Horses have positions. And usually a high position horse is very high strung.
Okay.
Is very active and can be like a little bit pushy
Yeah.
to the degree that it can be dangerous because he's still a stallion. But Arthur, on the other hand, is not, right? So most stallions are very active and they are the go horse for fighting. He's more on the defense side. He's not, into attacking other horses. He's more in defense. Hey, don't bother me. I don't bother you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I stand my ground.
He's a tower build. He's yes. Put all stats and HP in defense. He's a yeah.
Yes. He's very different from other horses. Like this kind of character is not easy to find. So he also, from the beginning, liked the person's touch, which here is different because these horses are unhandled.
Yeah.
Horses on this farm are unhandled and they don't know what's a person's touch. So they wouldn't come up. They would not engage with a person.
Right.
They watch you,
Right.
see what you're doing.
Yeah.
They would come up and sniff you, but they wouldn't try to engage. He, on the other hand, why he was selected, he would stand and wait and enjoy interacting with people. So he liked the touch. So that's why he was selected. Although he was a top stallion,
Yeah.
his personality was different. He's a very chill guy, very special,
Very chill. Yeah.
very beautiful too.
Yeah, and he does want to hang out. Like I was just kind of just playing around in the pen. I was just moved to different corners of the pen, and he would just follow and just
Right.
hang out and
Yeah.
give me a side. And
Right.
It's just a massive wall of a side, just so big. Yeah. And one thing I want to get into, because that's, if I'm being completely honest, one thing that kind of sold me to like, oh yeah, I can. I mean, you're training me, right? You're also my trainer too, right? So I'm like, okay, I will allow her to train her because I like what she's preaching. And it was you had the I'm sorry, it's not the whip, but what is it? The
rope.
Just the that thing, the long stiff.
That is a whip.
That is a whip. That is a whip. Hey, everybody. It's a whip. That whip-like thing. So what kind of sold me on that is you were just like, I use this as an extension of myself.
And that is a whip, yes.
Right?
Correct.
PD has the whip here.
Ta-da!
Yeah.
So it is a long whip.
Yes.
It's a
And
lunging whip.
what I liked is, you were saying you use it as an extension of yourself and not as a tool for like punishment.
Yes.
Right? Because you just see, yeah. You know what I'm talking about? I mean, come on. When you see this, you almost instinctually just want to start doing that.
Yes.
So I was like, okay, she's clearly more into positive reinforcement.
Yes.
So can you just talk about that? I mean, you did this back in the States.
Yes.
And you came to Korea, and you're kind of using this
Yes,
style.
very different.
So what is your philosophy behind positive versus negative punishment?
So, like I said, this
Reinforcement.
is a beautiful long whip. This is a lunging whip. And I do not use it as a punishment. There's no way I will do that. It is extension of my hand. And horses learn what this thing is. And most of them think it's something scary.
Right.
But if they learn that this is not scary and this is part of you, this is just longer version of your hand.
Yeah.
Then they start to understand that this actually gives them signs on what to do. So if you hit a horse, what is that? It's pain, right?
Yeah.
But if you tap a horse, is that pain? It's not pain, right? It's a cue.
Mm-hmm.
So just like if I would touch a horse in my hand, that'll be a cue.
Right.
So horses are very smart animals, and they learn from release of pressure. Pressure is very important to a horse, not pain, pressure in particular.
Mm-hmm.
Pressure can be all kinds of things. And one segment very hard to explain because it's very technical.
Yeah.
But basically, when you release the pressure, they will learn that's the right answer.
Okay.
So if you want the head down, you will push here on top of their heads, behind the ears, until they lower the head. If they don't, and you take off, they will learn, that was the right answer.
Right.
So if you keep pushing and they lower head and you release at that moment they will learn, that was
That's
the right
it. Like
answer.
this is where I should be.
Yes.
Right. So it's kind of like that. It's kind of like, I don't know, like pushing a cart or just nudging somebody, and you're just like, okay, when you're done, you're like, okay, so this is what it's supposed to be,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Yeah.
So horses are smart like that. So they're not just learning from the pressure, they're also learning from our body cues. So body language to them is very important because they talk with other horses with body language.
Right.
And they also learn through repetition. Repetition also very interesting thing for a horse.
Yeah.
Because they live in the present moment. They don't live.
Nice.
Yeah. They're very honest animals.
Man.
Yeah.
That's right. That's the way to do it. Horses live in the present. That's
Yeah.
live in the now.
They don't live in what happened yesterday.
Right.
They don't live in what will happen tomorrow. They live in what is happening right now. And in that moment, it's you and the horse.
Right.
So if you do it again and again and again, somewhere behind their head, they'll start to understand, do the same pattern again, same pattern again, same pattern again. It's something I always do.
Yeah.
So they learn through repetition. If repetition is always negative, they don't want to do it, right?
Yeah. Who would want to do that? Yeah. Exactly.
If repetition is positive,
Yeah.
they love it, right? They want to do it again,
Right.
again and again. And so they're able to learn quicker. Now, training horse, there's various styles. There's various ways.
Yeah.
And my way probably is the longest. So
Yeah. Well, as you said, repetition, right? Repetition.
Yeah.
You can, I mean, when I came on the ranch, you almost kind of give a time frame because we're just like, can we ballpark? Because Arthur, he's not ready for a saddle yet.
No.
He's not. One of the first when I tell people I do this, they're like, "Can you ride him?" And I'm like, "No." Well, I could try, and he'll launch me on the other side of the property, so that that's fine. But you gave this kind of time frame, and it's even just an approximation because you just don't know.
We don't know.
You just don't know, and every horse is different.
Right.
That's the one thing that was really amazing to me when I came the very first day here. I mean, I was the same way when I first came out. I was just had the idea, like, not that they should just be like tools, but like a horse is a horse. Horse is a horse. They kind of look the same. I know what a horse head looks like. I know what a horse body looks like. They're different colors. Cool, man. And then when I came here, I'm like, wow, this horse here is like mild and like really friendly and kind of a sweetheart. This is her daughter. She's got some sass.
Yeah.
You can
Are we
really
talking about Moo?
yeah. And so, Moo, right? And so every horse really has, but you have to be here. You just have to be here like this close to him.
Yes.
And you're like, wow, okay, like
Yes.
way different from each other. Even within the same breed, even within the same pen.
Right.
Yeah.
Even
And that
then-
can change if they change locations,
Yes, change
right?
locations,
It's crazy.
weather, everything.
Yeah.
Just like us, we have a good day, we have a bad day.
Yep.
So horses are really interesting animals, in my opinion. They learn quickly, but the way I approach it, if we go back to what I was talking about, my time is longer time. Why?
Yeah.
I'm building a relationship. I'm building a trust between me and horse. Every training method works.
Yeah.
I just get that stamp there. It works. Quick way, not quick way, they both work.
Right.
So it's just how you get there, how you get to the end. And it's the process, really, that takes the time.
Yeah.
In Korea, unfortunately, they skip a lot of steps.
Yeah.
They get to the riding part without doing the groundwork. Groundwork for horsemanship, for any cowboy out there, for any normal riding person, working with horse on the ground is step one.
Yeah.
Right? That is what you have to do.
Yeah.
In Korea, they briefly go into that, just like to get a saddle on.
Right.
And then once the saddle's on, it's called horse breaking.
Yeah, you break them. I know that term very well. I mean,
You break
Yep.
in the horse. You make them accept the saddle no matter whatever they think.
that's right.
Yeah. So you don't ask their opinions. You don't consider their opinions. That is a very quick method, and it works. There's no doubt about it. There's a million riding horses. It works. Is it a nice way? No. Is it a beneficial for a horse? No.
You really say it, you're just like, no, it's
No,
not.
it's not.
It's not right.
It's not.
Okay.
But it works.
Yeah.
So as a result, you get there. My way, what I do, and a lot of people probably do this way as well if you're from the States
Yeah.
or from Europe, you take your time.
Yeah.
And it's horsemanship. You're building that trust. You're building that relationship. You're communicating with the horse. So some days, horse is not feeling it. And you take it as that is. Okay, fine. Not today. Got it.
Right.
Some days they're progressing so quickly you can't keep up. Like, whoa, guy.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
But give me a break. Slow down.
But
You're doing so great.
And I remember you saying like, but don't expect this tomorrow,
Yeah,
right?
don't
Because
expect
it's
this
like
tomorrow.
a reset. It's like,
Yes.
as you said, they live in the now. So,
Yes.
you have to also, you as a trainer or like me as a sponsor who's working with them, it's like, you can get super pumped. You have like an awesome, crazy day, but don't also get disheartened, I
Yeah.
guess, if it just doesn't, just be happy,
Yes.
Yeah, just be happy that he's down to hang and
Yes. Always, my quote is always end it on a good note.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up too. Yeah,
Even
can you
if you
explain
don't-
that? Can you
yeah.
explain what that means?
Meaning always end it on the positive experience for the horse. So even that means going backwards.
Yeah.
So for example, I handle a horse like Arthur that we're talking about today. He has very little training done.
Yeah.
But he's progressing pretty well, right? So right now you're working on putting a saddle pad on his back.
Yes, right here. This one right here.
Yeah,
that one.
beautiful,
Yep. Yeah.
red color.
Yes.
So he's petrified of that thing.
Yeah.
Right. But in the last session with him, what did you get to do? You got to put it on him.
Yeah, that was
Right?
huge. Yeah.
Yeah, that was amazing. And that is your end. You accomplished something that you thought would never.
Mm-hmm. You literally said, "Okay, let's end it
Finish
here,"
it. Yeah,
and
all
we're just like, "But we do that," and you're like,
Yeah.
"No,
No.
guys,
Finish it
settle down," Yeah.
finish it here. That's
Yeah.
also a release that I
Yeah.
was talking about earlier. So you put a lot of pressure on him to put it on, and then he's not sure if this is the right answer, and you take it away. Oh, so that was the right answer. Me
Yeah.
taking the saddle pad, not
Yeah,
acting
yeah,
out,
right.
acting normal, accepting it was the right answer because
Right.
you took it off.
Right.
Okay, so sometimes after, maybe today, maybe tomorrow, maybe 2 hours later, he'll have a different reaction.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll say, oh, saddle up. Nope, not today. No, super scary. Don't want it. Don't come near.
Yeah.
So you go back a step. What's the back a step? Maybe you try just touching that saddle pad on him.
Right.
Again, oh, nope, don't like it. Again, back it up. Just show it to him. He's a good just showing it. Leave it there.
Yeah.
Don't try to push him.
It's kind of weird to make this connection, but I have a little bit of experience with stand-up comedy, and our producer, my partner, she's also a stand-up comedian, and it's like, so you're up on stage and you're doing a bit, right? You're doing your stuff, and you have the audience, and you're on this high note. Many comics, especially beginner comics, they love that feeling so much they just want to keep going forever, and then it'll start going down, and they will fight. They will fight to bring it back up, but a lot of times it just and you never get that audience back. So it's just like, I think of that too. Like maybe just end it there. If it's your time, or if it's a little bit earlier, maybe you didn't get like a joke out in time, but like everybody's here, just
That's a good
leave.
end, yeah.
And your audience of horses will be like, that was the right thing.
Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah.
Very cool. Now, as we're talking about sponsorship, because I'd like our listeners and our viewers to just learn about it. Like, how can they do that? Because I think it's a really great thing. And that's also another reason why I just wanted to talk to you today.
Right. So sponsorship is very interesting new thing that is happening on the island in particular.
Okay.
So it's not just here.
Yeah.
Other locations, particularly in Sogwipo,
Okay.
they do this a lot. So a lot of horses.
Right. Okay.
But here we're the only ones that are doing it. So horses here needs help from us because this is actually a big farm that was destined to be a meat farm.
Destined to.
Yeah. It failed. So they don't actually...
Good.
Yes, lucky horses.
Yeah.
So they don't necessarily are trying to sell these horses, but they right now they have to because horses this size, and we're talking about 1,000 kilo, that's a big horse.
Huge.
They eat a lot. They eat minimum
So
20,
big.
30 kilos per
Yeah,
day.
that's so big.
That's
Yeah.
about 3 tons of food per day here. That's a lot of money. So
Yeah.
right now they plan to lower the numbers. It's about 30, 40 horses every year. And then they want to go down to maybe about 30, 40 horses to be left over, just so it's manageable financially.
Right.
Now, in that sense, where do the horses get sold? Because these are big horses.
Yeah.
By big, giant 1,000 kilo horses. What can you do with them in Korea? Nothing, usually. Unless you're like a solo guy living in like a rural area or in Jeju and you have like a bunch of land. Then you can't really do anything else with them because they require a bigger space, bigger amount of food.
Yeah.
So stables, riding clubs, they can't even accommodate these animals because the stalls themselves are really small.
Yeah.
So they don't physically fit inside a stall.
Yeah.
So the riding club cannot take this kind of horse, even though we can make them rideable.
Yeah.
They won't be able to use them because
These horses, these are not your like horses. They're like, oh, it's like, oh, like
look
just
it up, look up.
like
giant.
so
For
big.
comparison, Jeju horse
Yeah.
max out about 300 kilo.
Yeah.
And race horse is about 500 kilo average. They can be under. They can be about 475.
Yeah.
Maximum to like 540.
Yeah.
And that's a race horse, but average is 500. And these guys are double that. They're
Double that in mass and density, like both. Not
Yes.
just weight. They're not just, well, they are pretty chunky. Some of them are pretty chunky, but they're just so large. It's like they got shot with like a gigantorray
Yeah.
and like whip, whip, whip. And they're just
went-
big. They're just big things. Yeah.
ginormous. They're
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah.
So these horses, they were meant for farming.
Yeah.
Right? Farming horses. So they're destined to be big and muscled.
Yeah.
Wide, and they have to pull things. That's their original job, pull and plow. But here in Korea, you don't do that, and they can be rideable. And that's what we're trying to accomplish here at the end, to make them rideable. But riding clubs cannot take them,
Yeah.
and most people are afraid of them.
Yeah.
So anyone can buy a horse from this farm. Anyone can purchase one in very low price, but they don't because it's just difficult to keep that kind of horse. Also, financially, that's a lot of money just for eating. So unless you're like mega rich, it's hard to keep a horse like that. So unfortunately, if you want to reduce the numbers on this kind of farm, where does the horse have to go? The horse has to go.
Let's go. You gotta.
They have to go for the meat. Meat. Unfortunately, because there's no other solution for that. Just as a side note, even a horse in Korea, if it dies or severely injured, what happens to it? How do you dispose of a body of a horse? There's only truly one option is slaughter. So even if you are owner of a horse and your horse suddenly passed away, you have to send your horse to slaughter. You have to send. There's no other way of disposal. And you have to pay for it. You have to pay money to somebody to skin your horse.
Right.
That's a very terrible thing.
Wow. Jeez.
It's very traumatic, I would say. There's no other unfortunate option for them because if you have a dog or cat, they get cremated, right?
Yeah, right. That's right. By law,
Yeah, by law, they have to get cremated.
Right.
Horses cannot do that because they're just too big.
Yeah.
Too big, and you pay by kilo. That's a lot of, So Korea is just not ready for having a proper body disposal of horse. So unfortunately, when you don't need a horse or your horse is injured, you have to send to slaughter. So here they're reducing the numbers because
that's wow.
Can't afford it.
That's a lot to take in. Okay,
So they have to. They don't actually. These are lovely horses. So the restaurants come to them to buy them, or the meat buyers come here to buy these horses. So horses are not actually going directly to the slaughter. They're going through somebody first. So we can't say no, basically.
Right.
We can't say no if someone wants to buy a horse here.
Unless
it's a sponsored horse.
That's right. So essentially what a sponsorship does is
it protects the horse.
It protects the horse.
Yes. So the sponsorship comes in and it puts like a beautiful barrier around the pony. And it says, hey, don't touch this one. And our goal with the horse that is sponsored is to train it to be rideable. And the end goal is to sell. So because money is involved in it. So this horse will be sold to an individual, not a riding club, an individual at the end. Who will be able to care for this kind of animal. Now, not a lot of people can do that, so it'd be very picky process. But there are people out there who are capable to do this. So that's what we're hoping for. The end goal is to train these horses.
Right.
Make them be friendly. They already are. And put a saddle on them. And eventually hop on them. And get them to a forever home.
And the cost of sponsorship is
300,000 won. Very low price.
Very low price. I guess it's relative, right? Because like for some folks that could be a bit pricey, right? So
there's some other options. If 300 is too high, you can find some friends or even strangers. It doesn't really matter.
That's what I do.
You don't necessarily have to know the person. You can just buddy up, I guess. Buddy up together with somebody else and share the financial price of it. Now, yes, per month.
300,000 per month. Okay.
300,000 per month, and it involves the food, it involves the vet care, and the housing, basically where the horse is staying. So it'll be separated from the herd. So it'll be put together either by itself or together with my girls. And then that process will allow the horse to kind of get to calm down, to relax, to get to know people.
Right.
And then we're going to start the process of gentling the horse because these horses are unhandled. So they don't know what's a person. They don't know what's a halter. They don't know what's a rope, how to follow a person. They don't know anything like that. So when we come in, we start the first steps, the baby steps, the touching, the being present with them, the grooming, and then big step, saddle pads. And then the final step, saddle.
Yeah.
And it takes time.
Well, the
right?
cool thing too is like as a sponsor,
Right.
you're just like come anytime.
Yes.
You can come anytime you want.
Right.
Essentially, like come to the ranch and
Right.
hang out with your horse.
Yes.
You know,
Or other horses.
Or other horses, or just I mean, I wasn't even a sponsor in the beginning. You were just asking just to come. It's like they need to see more people, and you know, but also I feel like you were like, I think I can match it up with a horse, which eventually happened, which is the big boy Arthur. But
You look like him.
yeah. Well, he's I'm like I'm the short pony Arthur version of actual Arthur.
You guys have the same hair.
Yeah, we got the same hair. That's true. But that's great. I mean, the fact that you can come here, hang out with the horse. If we let you know if you're available,
Right.
you come. And
Right.
I mean, even our first day with Petey and him, we came
Right. So
and you threw us
a lot.
in.
Yes.
Yeah.
So once you are interested, you don't actually have to, sign up right there. You can come check it out and see how you feel about it.
Yeah.
You can get to know horses. You can get to know how you feel while you're doing it, because at first it's very intense feeling.
Yeah.
It's can be petrifying. at
Yeah.
first, because these are big horses.
Yes.
So
Even the small ones are big. They're just big, and they just get
Yes.
bigger.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what we do first is I usually bring out my pony, which is Amber. She's
Yeah.
a smaller horse. If you ever come here, you'll know this name by heart.
Yeah.
Yeah. So on her, we'll practice how to handle horses, how to interact with horses, and I'll teach you everything that you basically need to know. So if you have zero horse experience, zero horse knowledge, you don't have to think, can I do this? Is
Yeah.
that impossible? I know
Yeah.
nothing. How can I,
Yeah.
have a horse and
Yeah.
know nothing about them?
Yeah.
Well, I'm here. And I'm here almost every day. So I enjoy having you here, enjoy anyone else coming here and showing you how to do this.
Yeah.
So I'm basically taking your hand and, guiding you
Yeah.
step by step. And eventually when you feel confident enough, you don't need me. But I'm still here. If you need something further, I'm going to teach you further.
Right. Right.
So I taught you how to groom. I taught you how to touch a horse, how to walk a horse, how
Yeah.
to stop a horse.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you learn all of that. And then next step is, training horse, which is what you're doing. That also I'm teaching how to do. Once you accomplish step 1, which is the saddle, the saddle pad. And then step 2 will be the saddle. And of course, I'll be here to teach you how to do that.
Yeah.
And throughout each step that we need to, accomplish, I'm here to teach the person how to do that.
Yep.
And once we do get to the riding part, which is the fun part, it takes a while though, I'm also here to teach you how to ride a horse.
Yeah.
Which in Seoul, big money.
Yeah.
That's a very expensive thing to do.
Yeah, that's right.
And
yeah.
I'm going to be doing this completely free of charge, because I'm not interested in making money here. I'm interested for the horse to get that training done so the horse can have a forever home. So that horse will not go to any funny place.
Yeah, when we're with the animals here, you are just constantly teaching. You're always like, there's always something to say,
Right.
and something new to learn about these animals. So I'm just I'm there with whoever, whether it be Amber or whether it be Arthur, and just anything, like there's just anything. You just have something to say about that, like, oh, watch this, or like he likes it when you do this, but not just like his likes and don't likes, just factoids and just
Yes.
sprinkle. I literally learn about.
It's very educational.
If I can compare it, like, so like I could either like let's say I could have a driving school and I just teach you how to drive a vehicle, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and you just learn how to open up the door, learn how to turn on the ignition, here's the buttons, beep, boop, beep, and then you can just start driving this car and things like that. But here I feel like you're like, okay, let's open up the hood. Let's look at the engine.
Yes.
Let's look at where does the windshield wiper fluid go? Why should we not do this? So it's just, I hate to compare going back to like comparing horses to machines and tools, but that's kind of what I can compare it to.
Right.
Like, this is why you shouldn't do this with this part, or
Right.
this in this area, or stay away from his rear because he can kick a hole through you, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I do go in a lot of details when you're here. I do talk a lot about horses just
Yeah.
because there's always something to say, particularly when there are so many of them here. And every horse is different, and every behavior happens very interesting when it's happening to me. So I always want to share and explain why it's happening, what is happening here, what is the next follow-up, or what is the result of it. So it's all, and then other items, there's so many technical tools here, or so
Yeah.
many I don't know, equipments and even the food and anything really related to horse.
Yeah.
Most people don't know this.
Yeah.
So if you explain, they start to kind of grasp the idea. So horse is not just a tool. It's not just a thing.
Yeah.
It has a lot of items
Yeah.
related to this animal.
So many things, so many
Yeah.
moving parts, so many,
Yeah.
things you have to,
It gets very deep once
Yeah.
we go in there, but yeah.
It's awesome. It's a wonderful experience. It's world class. It's world class. Just teaching. I mean, it's just you've had all this experience back in the States,
Right.
and up in the mainland, and then now you're here. So it's amazing. So with that said, I wish we had more time because I want to talk about the other type of animal that you like to work with. It's a very, very cool, special kind of dog, and I think we'll do that another time because I think that could
Yeah,
be
that's very
that could be its own thing, and it's also equally fascinating.
Right.
But real quick before we wrap up, can you just tell us how would you sign up for sponsorship?
So if you want to sign up, you can, I guess, contact you first since people see you.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, hit me up.
Or-
Yeah, and
or-
also subscribe.
Subscribe,
That's the only way you
yes.
get. That's yeah.
You must follow more.
That's right. Yeah.
No, but you can contact me, which is hard to do because there's no contact out there. But I do have an Instagram.
Okay. We'll put that in the link and all that good stuff.
So
Yep.
if you follow my Instagram, you can send me a message or you can make it
private message,
Yeah, you can leave a comment. Hi, I saw you or I heard you and I want to know more. Then
Yeah.
I'll give you my private contact and you can message. Yes, sure. My Instagram handle is horse trainer KR.
Horse trainer KR.
In Korea, KR.
Okay.
Horse trainer KR.
No dots, just straight up.
No, straight up,
Okay.
all together.
Yep.
All together, horse trainer KR. And then I don't post a lot of training actually now. I post mostly the horses here or my horses. So it's not a very exciting account, but it's still something different. Or you can go and hashtag horses in Korea.
Yeah.
Yeah, that also.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That'll come up as well.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah, so horses in Korea, I started, and then some other equestrians in Korea, they start to pick that up. It's actually pretty cool.
Huh.
So you can also connect with other equestrians following this hashtag.
That's
it's
awesome.
It's a very small group, so it's very cool.
Yeah. Well, I got to tell you, Korean, English, expat, a native. Come on, come all. Sponsorship is great. You're doing a really nice thing. You're learning about horses. It gives you a chance. This is really like literal hands-on experience. And I just want to thank you for being the first ever guest and allowing me to come here in this awesome location. You may have heard some trucks because it's about feeding time. I love it. I love just like we're in it. And
Yes.
that's kind of like the theme I like to do with this podcast. But seriously, this was awesome. And I've learned more stuff about you as well. You being an art major, so that could be something else we could talk about.
You like me too much.
I like you too much. Be careful. Be careful. You know, my PD boss / partner's listening, and she's right there.
married.
Yeah, that's right.
I have 2 babies. I'm married.
That's right. That's
Very
right.
happy.
Yep. And many horses.
And many horses.
And many horses. Well, that'll do it for this episode, the very first episode of the Halla holla podcast. A special shout out goes to Hope. Thank you so much. And yeah, I don't know. Like, I've never done this before. So do the whole like thing, subscribe thing. I think there's a bell you're supposed to ring. And feel free to contact me or contact this podcast at hallahallapodcast@gmail.com. That's HALLAHOLLA podcast.com. And that'll do it. I've been your host, Marcos and Che, and I hope to see you again. And Hope, thank you so much.
Thank you.